I am a palace grounds conservator. My name is Marcus Fell. I have worked at Ashford Palace for 14 years, maintaining the exterior stonework, the formal garden structures, and the iron and bronze decorative elements throughout the public-facing grounds. My work is seasonal in some respects: winter inspection, spring repointing, summer decorative maintenance, and it keeps me on the grounds at irregular hours. I am on the grounds before the palace opens to visitors and sometimes after it closes. I want to describe what I saw on an evening in late November, about 3 years ago, because I have thought about it many times since, and I think it is the kind of thing that should be said rather than simply carried. The Remembrance Stand-to is an annual post maintained at the eastern gate of Ashford Palace from the evening of the 14th through the morning of the 16th of November. It is not a public event in the way of the summer ceremony. There are no crowds. There is no announcement. A guard simply stands post at the eastern gate from sundown to sundown for 36 hours in relays of 2, one on post, one in relief rotation. The post is maintained in full ceremonial dress throughout. I knew about the stand-to because I had seen it 3 or 4 times in my 14 years. I tend to be on the grounds in late autumn for pre-winter stone inspections. Most years I see it from a distance. I note it, I respect it, and I continue my work. That evening in November 3 years ago, I was on the eastern approach path at approximately 6:15 in the evening. The last visitors had left by 5:30. The grounds were empty. It was dark and cold. There was a light rain, the kind of thin, persistent rain that is not quite mist and not quite proper rain, the kind that soaks through things slowly. The guardsman at the eastern gate was standing post. I will call him Guard V, which is not his designation, but which is what I am comfortable with. He was in full ceremonial dress, red wool, bearskin, white gloves in the thin rain. He had been on post since approximately 4 in the afternoon. He was not scheduled for relief for another 2 hours. I was 30 meters away, at the stone balustrade I had been inspecting, and I stopped my work and watched for a while. I want to be honest that I did not intend to watch for as long as I did. It simply did not feel right to stop watching. He stood the way guardsmen stand at formal post, weight evenly distributed, position forward, eyes middle distant. The rain accumulated on the bearskin and ran off the brim. He did not move to adjust it. His white gloves were wet through. He did not move his hands. The red wool was dark with the rain. His breathing was visible in the cold air, steady, even intervals, the breath of a man at rest in a difficult position. I have been on the palace grounds for 14 years. I have seen the formal ceremonies, the summer season drills, the changing of the guard that tourists photograph from the forecourt. I thought I understood what the guard did. I understood the ceremony of it. I understood the function. What I had not understood until I stood on the eastern approach path in the dark and the rain and watched Guard V stand still in it for 38 minutes while I repaired. My inability to stop watching was the duration of it. The doing it again and again in the absence of any witness at all. At some point in those 38 minutes, I think it was around the 20-minute mark, I realized that Guard V did not know I was there. The lights along the approach path are dim in late November. He was looking outward. I was dark-coated and still. He had been standing in the rain with no audience whatsoever, as far as he knew, doing the post exactly the way it would be done in front of a crowd. This seems obvious, perhaps. Of course, he maintains the post whether or not he is observed. That is what the post is for. But there is a difference between knowing that something is true and watching it be true. In the rain, for 38 minutes, in the dark, with no one watching, I finished my inspection notes at approximately 6:53 and walked back along the path. As I passed the eastern gate, I stayed to the far side of the path, not wanting to disturb the post. Guard V's peripheral attention shifted, slightly, not toward me. I was 25 meters away and moving quietly, but the kind of environmental awareness that is simply part of what he was doing. He noted something moving on the path and filed it, and returned to middle distance. I did not stop. I did not speak. I went to the staff exit, turned in my tools, and drove home. I told my colleague about it the next morning. She said, "How long did you watch?" I said, "About 38 minutes. She said, "What did you do?" I watched. She said, "Was that useful?" I said, "I don't know what useful means in this context. 3 years later, I still do not. But I think about it, particularly on cold November evenings, when the rain comes in at an angle from the east. I think about the wet bearskin and the white gloves, and the position maintained in the dark for no visible reason, except that the position is what the post requires. I have written this down because I am a person who works with stone and iron, And I know something about maintenance. What I watched on the eastern approach path 3 years ago was a kind of maintenance I had not previously had the right angle to see. I do not know Gardv's name. I do not need to. He knows what was required, and he did it in the dark and the rain with no one watching, and I was there to see it without him knowing. And I think that is exactly the right way for a thing like that to be witnessed.